Hi guys, Dr. Will Adams here, chiropractic physician at Miami Spine and Performance in Hallandale Beach. Today we're going to talk about running. This is going to be one of the episodes as part of our runner series where we're going to go through some different exercises and progressions to help you run better, more effectively, and stay injury free when you're running. Today we're going to talk about the single leg stance and particularly balance and gaining awareness of the bottom of the foot. We're going to do a whole nother series on just intrinsic foot exercises, but today we're going to talk about balance and how to progress the single leg stance, because I think that's one thing that's neglected a little bit in runners is actually working on that balance and being able to control yourself on one leg, right? Because not only does it require good vestibular and neurological function to balance, but it also helps a lot with being able to control the bottom of your foot, particularly feeling the 3 points of the arch that we're going to talk about, and then controlling that ipsilateral glute to prevent pelvis dropping, right? Trendelenburg. So the first progression of single leg stance is going to be a standing short foot, okay? And what that's going to be is we're going to be trying to take this inside knuckle of our big toe and bring it to our heel, just like that. Okay, we're trying to keep our toes relatively relaxed, and you should be feeling the muscles under here working, okay? So you're just going to do that standing. You can do both feet at once. You can do one at a time. But that's going to start to help develop a little bit of awareness of the bottom of your foot, which is an important prerequisite for single leg stance. From there, we're going to get into our tandem balance exercise. So we're going to put one foot in front of the other. And what we're going to do is I want you to focus on feeling the knuckle of the big toe, the knuckle of the small toe, and then that heel bone, right? You want all three of those to be in contact at all times. And that's how we know we're building that arch and we're really supporting that arch. You shouldn't be gripping the ground with your toe or anything like that. You shouldn't be feeling your calves or the front of your shin. You should really be relaxed and just using those muscles at the bottom of your foot to stay balanced, okay? And as a starting off progression, you can do a couple sets of 20 seconds here before your run or on your off day. The next progression is going to be our regular single leg stance, right? So you can go here. You can make it a little more challenging by raising your knee. It's a little more relevant for running. But we're going to go right into our single leg stance. And again, what we're thinking about is not just focusing on balancing, but actually feeling the bottom of the foot, right? Again, the knuckle of the big toe, the knuckle of the small toe, and the heel to make kind of a triangle to build that arch, right? So we'll go here, single leg balance, okay? We can make this a little more difficult in a couple of ways. The first being we can close our eyes, which makes it a bit more challenging because now you lose the vestibular part, so you really have to own that foot and that hip. The other thing that we can do, I'll switch sides, is head turns. Right? Again, now our vestibular system is not synced with our muscular system, and we really have to rely on good stability. Another thing that I like to do with patients is we'll toss a tennis ball, so you can get on a single leg, tossing a tennis ball against the wall like this, and again, kind of focusing on being able to control that leg while staying active and focusing on other things, right? Additionally, if you have access to a foam pad, a pillow, or any unstable surface, you can go ahead and stand on the foam and balance this way, right? You really got to feel the bottom of your arch here because any collapsing that you were doing before is going to be exaggerated by the foam pad. Okay, so we've got our short foot exercise. We start there because that helps just build awareness of the area. Then we have our tandem balance, one foot in front of the other, holding that for a bit. We have our single leg stance. We have our single leg stance with eyes closed, single leg stance rotating the head, and then single leg stance on foam. Additionally, you can also do what I call woodpeckers, just on 2 feet, falling forwards and backwards. This is a great one to do after the short foot. So you're falling like your body's in a straight line, but you're keeping all those contacts down. So we're not lifting up our heels. Again, not gripping with the toes, not squeezing the calves, using that true arch of the foot. And then of course you can do this on a single leg as well. lean forward, lean back. There's really an infinite number of ways to challenge this. So we have the single leg woodpecker. And now we'll get into a couple of dynamic variations. So once you've really mastered the single leg stance and you're comfortable in that stance, as in you can do the single leg woodpeckers, or you can do some eyes closed standing on a foam pad, you can now transition into things like reverse lunge into a single leg stance. Right? You can go forward lunge into a single leg stance. Really working on that acceleration, right? We're not necessarily trying to work on our legs, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to work on being able to explode off that front foot and then stabilize on that back foot. Same thing here, explode. You can also do a lateral lunge variation, right? Where you sit out and explode. And we just want to find those 3 points of contact on the foot, right? You can go in a clock motion and things like that, right? You can go forwards, backwards, side to side, and really work on finding those 3 points of contact. The other variation that I really like is the single leg RDL, right? So we're going to keep our pelvis straight. We're going to reach down. And of course we can add weight to this, right? We can put a kettlebell in this hand, come up and down, trying to keep that pelvis stable. And this one we can really start to get into working that same side glute, hamstring, strengthening the oblique chains of our body, because that's really relevant for running since the reciprocal arm and leg are working together. The last one that I really like, that I use with clients a lot, is what I call a running RDL, okay? So we're gonna balance on one leg, we're gonna reach to the outside of the foot, come up and cross the leg. Just like that. So I'm reaching. So what we're doing here is we're integrating, actually twisting and a little more pelvis motion, but we're keeping this hip stable, right? So when I rotate my body over this down hip, I'm relatively internally rotating this hip. And then I'm exploding into it, and I'm relatively externally rotating. So it's a way of working closed chain hip rotation, right? That's a great variation. You can add a band, you can add a ball. Of course, you can progress all these with weight and things like that. There's an unlimited number of possibilities. But I just wanted to give you guys a couple of options of single leg stance variations, not just to help your balance, but to help you being able to get comfortable on one leg. Of course, when we're running, we're constantly alternating stance feet, but being able to balance on one leg is an important physical prerequisite for a lot of activities. A lot of things are single leg. And again, I love incorporating things like lunges into single leg stances, single leg RDLs, single leg squats, split squats, step ups. Those are all progressions, of course, but you really want to start by owning that bottom of the foot, which we will get into even more detail in another video, owning the single leg stance, being able to take variables out and still hold strong, and then progressing that single leg stance into functional exercise. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys try some of these as warm-ups. Like I said, you know, start with 20 seconds in each position, maybe 3 sets before your run, and then you can get into, you know, doing repetitions of the lunges and stuff like that. But just progress as is natural. Don't move too fast. Be patient with it. It does take time, but you'll definitely notice a difference. So please drop a comment, guys, of what you'd like to see next, or if you have any questions about any of this. We do see a lot of runners in our clinic from South Florida, so we have some insight into some of the things that we do to help runners perform better and stay injury-free, especially as, you know, races that have been postponed are going to be coming up soon. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.